That'd be right. We're gonna do the bumpers today. So, actually, back it up. As you can see, the rear bumper, I took off the blue Miata and put on this, and in my opinion, it is so much more fitting. And since the last video, you saw that I couldn't really pull out of the garage because the tires hit so bad. So after that video, I came back in and I trimmed the fenders and everything and put these flares on that I had kicked around for the Mustang. And I think they look pretty sick. They're very fitting to the car. Like, they fit the body lines right where I wanted to cut perfectly. And the only other thing I had to do is hammer in the, you can't really see it, but hammer in the wheel well there. So when the tires turned fully, it didn't hit. And that's about it. I think that's all I did since the last video. I was getting eager to drive it. I want to drive it so bad. But today, we're gonna do the front bumper. So the rear bumper is 1 inch Schedule 4D tubing, which works out to be, so I think it's like 1.3 inches, but it's like 1.25 inch tubing. And I got another full stick of it right here. The regular roll cage tubing, I think it's 1.6. So like a little over 1.5 inches. And I didn't want that for the front. I wanted to match the rear bumper because the rear bumper is 1 inch Schedule 40. So got another full stick of that, and we are going to start pulling the front end off of this thing and get a game plan on how we want to do this. Because also, I got the winch. 3,500 pound Badland winch, straight from Harbor Freight. Can't beat those winches. I've had a million of them. They work fantastic. And I don't know if you follow my Instagram or not, but the truck is coming along. Got leaf springs powder coated, the axle's back in, frame's done, and just slowly picking away at that. But in this video, we're gonna start working on this bumper. So I'm gonna open the hood, open the lights, and get the rest of this bumper off, and get the crash bar off, and see what we gotta do. That was way worse than it should have been. The bolts on the sides here, this one, broken. The other side, broken. Just spin, couldn't get them out. Couldn't grind the head off the other side like I could this one to, you know, keep everything intact. Had to pull the bumper far enough to cut between the bumper and the fender. Stupid, but that's off. All right, so I'm sitting here thinking, because I don't know how I want to do this. The frame rail is here, like this is the frame rail. And if I make a plate for the tubing, you know, if I weld a piece of tubing to a flat plate, this 1/4 inch plate, I was gonna use this right there, but these 1/4-20 bolts are not gonna hold the weight of anything. So, as you see the bottom there, I took this side and just cut it off flush. And so I think my plan right now, because this bumper needs to be removable, I think I'm going to take this plate and I'm going to cut it from here to like here, cut this section out, and I think I'm going to drill 2 1/2 inch holes in the middle of it, roughly here, towards the bottom of this one and towards the top of this one, because they'd be even. Weld the bolts to the back of that plate and weld the plate right there. And then with the 2 1/2 inch bolts sticking out, I can make my plate to weld the tubing to, and then I can bolt it up to that. I know that's not like, probably not gonna be the strongest thing, but I really don't know what else to do. And where the tubing comes out to the bumper, goes across, it needs to be able to fit underneath this. And right at the bottom of that is kind of where the bottom of this hole is, straight across. And I'm gonna do 2 tubes that go down under the car, because I wanna protect the radiator. And I'm gonna go from the frame rail here, straight down to a tube across the bottom of the radiator, and then up to this one. That's my plan as of right now. Might change along the way, but I've been sitting here thinking, and I don't really know what else to do because there's no solid way to, like, I figured it'd be like the Mustang where you have 1/2-inch bolts that hold it to the frame rail, but I didn't really think about this. So I think that's my plan right now. Drill 2 1/2-inch holes in that plate, cut them to, I don't know, looks like about 8 inches or so, weld bolts on the back, weld the plates to that cross member, or the crash bar. I think that's the best option. All right, so these are still brutally hot, but I went ahead and cut these plates out, welded nuts on the back. This is gonna be for the bumper side, and go right over the studs when this is welded right to the car. I did not mean to drill a hole in the middle of this one. I didn't think about it when I was drilling them, but I drilled this one so I could spot weld that as well right there to the frame rail. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this welded on. All right, I didn't realize the battery was dead when I was sitting there talking, but like I said, I don't know if I caught it on video or not, how freaking thin this metal is. It is ridiculous. So welding a 1/4-inch piece of plate to tin is a pain in the butt, but hopefully it's gonna be solid enough. So I'm gonna grab the level, make sure the car's kind of level first, but grab the level, throw this one on, throw it across the bolts, and make sure those are square. All right, so both plates are welded on. That should be last I have to weld to the car for now. Like I said, I had to stitch weld the top there, and that came out fine because this side was just blowing holes. But then this side welded normal, perfect, all the way down. Annoying, but anyway, it's done. So now I'm gonna mock up these plates, put the bumper piece back on, and figure out the depth I want to go with the first pipe. All right, so what I just did, I measured from the tire here around to the tire. It was just about 7 foot, so I cut a 7-foot stick right there off of this one. And I'm going to, because of the winch, I want a section here in the front, like, you know, straight, because I'm gonna make where the bumper's gonna be here, but the winch plate is gonna come out to here, and then that's where I'm gonna put my tie downs in. So I'm going to measure, I don't know, roughly in this area to this area, whatever that is, 20 inches or so. Measure that, and that's where I'm gonna put the first 2 bends. It's gonna be, so a straight section and then a little bend, and I'll come over here and hopefully mimic this bend here. And then when I get from this bend to this bend, I'll do a tight one to about the back of the bumper. And then if it's obviously too long, I can cut the ends off. So I'll go over to the bender and map this out. All right, so I just measured the box for the winch, and it is 15 inches. So I want to give myself a little wiggle room on each side. So 18 inches in the front of that bumper looks good on tape measure. So I'm going to do the first 2 bends at 18 inches apart. So you get that straight section in the middle for the winch. Since this was 7 feet, I'm going to take it, measure to the center, have 7 foot, 3.5. So go 3.5 feet. That is my center. So I said I was gonna do 18 inches. So what? 9 Wow, that took a minute. So 9 inches each way of the center. Point. So there is my 2 marks at 18 inches. So I'm going to start, put in the bender here. I have my die marked in the center, so I know, the center of the die. I'm going to go by pumps usually. That's how I usually do it. So I'll put tension on the pipe, and I'll do with this, I don't know, 12 to 20 pumps, whatever looks about right. But whatever I do on this, do on this. So if I do 22 pumps on this one, I'll do 22 pumps on this one. Go mock it up on the car, make sure it's good. Now, a lot of people with these benders, they'll take the pipes, like if they gotta do tight bends, they'll take the pipes, pack them full of sand, weld caps on them, and then bend them, so it's more of like a mandrel bent finish. But for what we're doing, this doesn't, I'm not gonna be doing a straight, 90-degree bend. So this is more than fine doing it the way that I'm doing it without packing it full of sand or, anything of the sort like that. Can't afford a mandrel bender, so gotta do it this way. All right there, looks pretty good. I like that. So just visually looking at this scratch right here on the bumper, right about there is where that bend begins. So I'm gonna measure from there to, I'm gonna say about this corner light here, and then that's where I'm gonna put my next bend. So I'm gonna measure in the scratch here about 15 inches. All right, so I just threw the next bend on, and as you can see on that side, I did 40 pumps. Now, 40 pumps for me is kind of getting into that area where it's going to start to crease the pipe because you didn't fill it full of sand and everything. So what I do is the 3-inch rule. So where my mark was, I'm now going to go 3 inches further to almost make the bend more of a radius instead of trying to pinch a tight turn. So I'm gonna go over, mark 3 inches, do that. All right, I'm gonna bring it over to this side so you can see a little bit better. But there you go, there's that bend, 3-inch rule. I might do one more just to tuck it back in under the bumper a little bit, and I think we'll be all set. So I'm gonna mark this side, do another 3, bend it, and then I'll do the same thing on this side. All right, here she is. All right, so roughly, hold on, let me turn it up a little bit here. Up there. Kind of hard to hold this thing like this. I have to grab the jack, but roughly that's how it's going to be. A little further out in the corners in case I need to push anything out of the way. I don't know, it looks kind of goofy, but I would prefer to be a little bit more protected like that. So I don't know, it is what it is. Going to grab the jack and throw it over here in the middle and get the pieces mocked up to the plate, and then I can tack everything together. All right, so I'm gonna go around and fully weld these, and then we can cut the ends off. And honestly, no, never mind. As I say, I can almost cut the end off and use the bend, cut it at the bend, because I don't know if I like it going fully across the fenders or not, I don't know. But if I do, I can almost cut it in the middle of the bend and use that bend for here. But I don't know, let me finish welding this first. So I'm sitting here thinking that this little like landing right here would be the perfect spot for that winch. But that means I gotta cut the front of that bumper cover, and I really don't want to because I like the way it looks. I'm gonna put it back on quick. That would be the ideal spot to do that. But I really don't want to lose that. I love it. So, I don't know. Don't know what I want to do. I guess I'm going to grab the grinder and cut these bars. But I think I'll cut them back like right here maybe. Cut them at a 45 and clean them up. I think that'll look best, and at least it gives it clearance for shit. Alright, so while that's cutting, I'll show you what I came up with. So, I'm going to do this pipe here, just behind the radiator, and I'm cutting the pieces now, come up and swoop up to the bar. I'm going to come down at a 90, not a 90, like a 22 almost, right under there, to the bar. And then in the center, I can do a skid plate of some sort, so nothing goes through the radiator. So, cutting these pipes now. And then I'm gonna get them all tacked up. All right, I got that piece all tacked up. Now, I gotta figure out what the hell I'm gonna do about this winch situation. So I'm gonna put the front bumper back on. There's a piece of metal stuck in my shoe. Put the front bumper back on and see where the winch would lie. Because I don't really want to cut that bumper. Alright, so here's what I came up with. I opened the box and it came with this bracket. So it utilizes these two holes to mount the winch, and these two were to mount to a four-wheeler or whatever, as well as those three. So I ended up spot welding those two on level, right in the middle, and I just tucked the bumper behind it for now, and actually it doesn't look terrible if that fits with the winch right there. But if not, I'll just trim this little section of the bumper out. But I don't hate that. So now I'm gonna weld the bottoms and make a couple little triangle gussets for it, and that should be good enough. So I'm gonna get to work on that. All right, so this is where I'm gonna end it for the night. Got the plate welded on, a couple triangular gussets in the front there. I can't decide, because I like the way it looks without it, but I kind of wanted to do like one of the pointed, you know, like rock slider bumper things. But I don't know, because I like the way it looks with the bumper on it, and it looks simple and, you know, not too insane. So if I don't end up doing that, the only thing I have left to do are to make up like, I don't know, maybe 4 or 6 tabs off the sides of these bars, so I can put a piece of aluminum skid plate on it. Yeah, I think that's it for tonight. Calling for a night, and I'll be back at it tomorrow. All right, guys, so it's the next morning, and I was sitting there thinking last night about how with the winch on, there's nothing protecting it with the bumper where it's sitting. So I was sitting there and I was like, oh, I still gotta put this piece on, and when this is on, it sticks out so far compared to the bumper that if I was to hit a tree or anything of the sort, it's just gonna destroy it. So I think I'm gonna cut another piece and make a little piece here that goes like kind of right under this section, just so it'll give it a little bit more of a little more protection if something was to hit it. And I think it just, I don't know, it'll support that winch bracket a little bit better anyway. So start off the morning by, oh, thank God the heat finally shut off. I think it's so loud. start off the morning cutting this piece, getting that welded on, and then I can move to making the skid plate. All right, so instead of doing the bar under here, like I said, I ended up doing one out in front, kicked it up a little bit at an angle. Looks pretty sick on the car. I just welded these tabs on to hold this aluminum sheet that I had for a skid plate. And I'm now gonna drill the holes in the skid plate. Then I can clean that. What? Then I can clean up the skid plate and paint the bumper. Yeah. All right, it is officially time to reassemble this thing. So bumper's right here, all painted up. And I took the piece of aluminum, took the grinder, shaved it all down, put this little texture in it. I think it'll look pretty neat on the bottom as a skid plate. Got the bumper support painted up. That's all dry, ready to go. So I'm gonna throw the piece of aluminum in the bumper and get this thing on the car. All right, guys, that is it. Bumper's back on. And I keep looking over at the camera and the goddamn thing's dead. So hopefully I caught, you know, what I wanted to catch on video. If not, I apologize, but regardless, it's done. I'm happy about that. It's been 2 days. So this thing looks sick. Here you go. Came out pretty damn awesome. Exactly what I was looking for. Nothing insane. Does what it needs to do. Got the skid plate to protect the radiator. I'm glad I went with that hoop too. That looks pretty sick. So that'll be it in this video. Actually, my accessory lighting will be here today, I think. But that will be in the next video. Thank you guys. Like, comment, subscribe. See you in the next one.